People sometimes just have an opinion versus really having the experience.
What would you do if the person you vowed till death do us part to suddenly couldn't recognize you, couldn't speak clearly, and sometimes lashed out for no reason? Imagine trying to protect your children, manage public opinion, and care for the most icon IC action star of his generation, all while your own heart fractures a little more each day. That is the raw, unvarnished reality faced by Emma Hemming Willis, and her decision to move Bruce Willis into a separate care home has ignited a firestorm of judgment, sympathy, and armchair analysis. It all came to a head on September 9th, when Emma appeared on Good Morning America to explain, in her own calm and measured way, why Bruce, her husband of 14 years and father to their 2 young daughters, now lives under professional care apart from their family home. Seated in the familiar studio lights, Emma's voice carried both resolve and vulnerability as she confessed, "It was a hard decision for us, but that was the safest and best decision, not just for Bruce, but for our 2 young girls." The words safest and best echoed like a mantra, a shield against the judgment she knew would follow. Her next point came with gentle firmness. "I know that Bruce has the best care 100% of the time. His needs are met 100% of the time, as well as our girls' needs. I'm not going to take a vote on that." The studio audience watched in respectful silence, but across social media, viewers were already weighing in, convinced they could do better, or else appalled that Emma would dare keep Bruce anywhere but their family home. Emma then turned to the heart of the matter: caregiver stigma. "Caregivers are so judged," she said, looking straight into the camera. "Dementia plays out differently in every household. If you've seen one case of dementia, that is one case of dementia. You have to do what is right for your family, to keep loved ones safe as well as protect your children." It was a plea for understanding, a challenge to anyone who'd never changed a diaper for a confused spouse to step back and let her make the choice she felt in her gut was her family's only lifeline. For context, nearly 2 years earlier, in March 2022, the Willis family announced that Bruce was retiring from acting after receiving a diagnosis of frontotemporal dementia and progressive aphasia. Language that once poured from his mouth in one-liners and wisecracks fell into jagged fragments. Flashes of his old wit were replaced by confusion and frustration. By late 2022, Emma, as primary caregiver, shouldered the lion's share of day-to-day duties: medication times, therapy sessions, endless patience when Bruce didn't know her name, and enlisted support from Bruce's ex-wife, Demi Moore, and her 3 daughters. But as Bruce's world narrowed, the risks grew: unpredictable behavior, emotional outbursts, even times when too many people in the house felt overwhelming or dangerous. Choosing professional care was not a cold dismissal, it was a desperate act of love. In a specialized facility, Bruce could receive 24/7 attention from trained staff who understand how to calm agitation, prevent falls, and handle the sudden mood swings that accompany deepening dementia. Meanwhile, Emma could devote quality time to her daughters, now 9 and 11, so their earliest memories of their father would be happy ones. Story time, hugs, pictures on the fridge, not the terror that comes when a loved one no longer recognizes you or suddenly lashes out. Still, social media erupted as if Emma had committed an unpardonable sin. A nurse with first-hand experience wrote, "I'm happy Emma was brave enough to make this decision. Dementia patients can become violent, spit, pull hair, hit out of confusion." Another commenter bluntly stated, "She doesn't need to defend herself. It's none of anyone's business." One user demanded that critics stay silent until they'd walked a mile in Emma's shoes, while someone else accused her of being out of touch and only interested in the paycheck. Of course, not every post was supportive. A sting of cruel remarks called Emma fake or asserted she was waiting for that paycheck. One user sneered that she had merely built another house and stuck him in there to simplify her life. In the cacophony of voices, nearly every caregiver's worst fear came true: strangers offering misguided lectures about a situation they've never lived, confident they would have made a better call. Yet behind each accusation lies a painful truth few see: the constant vigilance required of family caregivers. Studies show well over half of those caring for a loved one with dementia experience clinical depression, and nearly a third sustain physical injuries from supervising a loved one prone to flailing arms or sudden agitation. Sleep becomes a memory, personal time evaporates. The emotional toll can fracture a marriage, fracture a family, and leave caregivers isolated in guilt when they finally admit they need help. To shed light on what Emma is up against, consider the nature of frontotemporal dementia. Unlike Alzheimer's, where memory falters first, frontotemporal dementia often hijacks personality and behavior. One moment your husband is the warm, witty Bruce you married, the next, he's disinhibited, impulsive, or even aggressive without meaning to be. Combine that with progressive aphasia, and you end up with the anguish of someone trapped in a mind they can no longer fully express, lashing out in frustration. In such cases, a clinical environment with staff trained in de-escalation and therapeutic engagement becomes less a luxury and more a lifeline. Emma herself addressed this in a voiceover shared alongside home videos of her family. "I want my girls to remember their dad as gentle and loving, not someone who snapped or lashed out because his brain no longer understood him." We see Amara and Mabel painting rainbows and placing cards in a box labeled "Get Well Soon, Daddy." Each stroke of their brushes, each glittered heart, represents hope in the face of erosion. Emma's tears, quietly wiped away off camera, underscore that she's not defending a decision born of convenience, but one carved from exhaustion, fear, and fierce maternal love. Her public rebuttal has become a kind of teaching moment. Whenever she reminds viewers that no two dementia journeys are the same, she's urging empathy over instant judgment. By stating, "This isn't up for debate," she reclaims the right of every family to make the best decision for their unique constellation of needs and risks. Caregiving often comes with no happy ending, and yet Emma refuses to let the narrative be skewed by those who wouldn't recognize true sacrifice if it stared them in the face. For all the noise online, the core of this story remains heartbreakingly simple: a family doing whatever it takes to preserve dignity, safety, and love. Emma Hemming Willis's choice to secure professional care for Bruce is a testament to her refusal to choose between her husband's well-being and her daughter's security. In the end, isn't that what every spouse hopes for? An act of love so fierce it can't be contained by shame or gossip. Emma's message to caregivers everywhere is clear. Real families make real choices, guided not by overnight opinions or keyboard critiques but by sleepless nights, tearful mornings, and a relentless drive to protect those they love most. If anything warrants our respect and support, it is that fierce, unyielding devotion.